A viral video currently doing the rounds shows a large herd of sheep mysteriously walking round and round in a large circle. The unusual phenomenon was captured at a farm in the Inner Mongolia region of northern China and had reportedly been going on for at least 10 days, according to the Chinese newspaper People's Daily. The media in China said that the behavior, shown in the black and white CCTV footage, had no clear explanation, leading internet users to develop their own juicy theories. In between ideas of alien invasions and doomsday omens, many were speculating that the behavior may have been caused by the bacterial Listeria monocytogenes. When farm animals eat food infected with this germ, they can develop a disease called listeriosis, which can affect their nervous systems. The infection can take root in just one side of the brain stem, resulting in one side of the animal's faces becoming paralyzed and their heads tilting at an angle. This titled head causes them to walk in a circle, hence the disease is sometimes nicknamed circling disease.
Welcome to this animal channel. Watch the full video to know more about why animals walk in circles.
I'll be honest, it looks doctored. If you have any experience with agriculture and how these things are done, the sheep look like they're walking around something you'd find on a farm. The video is super low quality, and the circle is a slightly different color than where the sheep are walking around it. I'm just saying, I'm not at all convinced. People in the replies immediately began saying the sheep are experiencing listeriosis. This is an infection, also called listeria in humans, caused by the bacterium Listeria monocytogenes. The CDC says it's 10 times more likely to affect pregnant people, and the infection can cause miscarriage, stillbirth, and dangerous preterm labor. We are in the midst of a listeria outbreak that has already caused at least one miscarriage. In animals, listeria is typically called listeriosis, or even circling disease. It's easy to see why this was the ready-made explanation offered by many commenters online. Listeriosis is a bit of a lottery ticket because not all animals will develop the disease, and the disease itself can express in 4 ways in animals: encephalitis, septicemia, visceral infection, and abortion. The latter is what it sounds like, while the others affect the brain, blood, and organ systems. It's the encephalitic form that leads to circling behaviors, scientists believe. That's because the bacterial infection gets into one of the brain's 2 hemispheres, mildly or severely inhibiting movement on that side of the body. In humans, the reason we end up walking in circles over time is that our limbs are not mirror images. One is always slightly, or even a little bit less slightly, longer than the other. But encephalitic listeriosis is a chemical thing, causing the brain signals to the limb itself to deteriorate and be less listened to. Why listeriosis isn't a pat answer, but the listeriosis theory lacks that certain something. It's intuitive if you think about it for a second. When's the last time you caught a cold from someone and then had exactly the same symptoms as them, down to the exact same fever, the same number of coughs or sneezes, and so forth? Never doesn't feel like a strong enough word. These sheep are of different ages, heights, and weights. They're divided into 2 sexes, and the ewes, or females, are divided into those that have and have not given birth. The same behavior applies to another theory people have put forward, zoochosis, which Slate defines as a repetitive behavior that serves no obvious purpose, such as pacing, bar biting, and Gus figure 8 swimming. Trichotillomania and regurgitation and reinfestation are also common in captivity. It's called zoochosis, or psychosis caused by confinement, according to the article. But sheep are domestic herd animals, and there are dozens of them in the video. They're not lonely, and they're not seen shaking, overgrooming, or otherwise coping in an unhealthy way. Herds of sheep move together so often that they're considered a fluid for the sake of physics. It's not against their nature or alarming in itself. What's scaring people is the circle. Even in the video footage, we see sheep walking around each other in an orderly way. If they were disoriented and walking in organic circles, they'd likely be running into each other and otherwise acting less like polite road traffic. Their circles would not be perfect, because brain disease is not uniform or perfect. So, for now, my best guess is still that this is a doctored video of sheep walking around some kind of existing, circular obstacle, and that's good because listeriosis is scary stuff. Instead, others are hypothesizing as to whether the animals in the video are showing signs of stereotypic behavior. This is when an animal exhibits a repetitive behavior pattern with no obvious goal or function, often in response to stress, frustration, or boredom. Perhaps the most obvious example of this is a caged animal at a zoo pacing up and down its enclosure. It looks like the sheep are in the pen for long periods, and this might lead to stereotypic behavior, with the repeated circling due to frustration about being in the pen and limited. This is not good. Then the other sheep join as they are flock animals and bond or join their friends. Matt Bell, a professor and director of the Department of Agriculture at Hartpury University in England, told Newsweek. With this in mind, it's also likely the sheep are practicing their well-known tendency to follow the herd. Recent research has shown that this behavior is surprisingly democratic and much more than just blindly following the leader. But regardless of its complexities, it does appear sheep rely on the self-organizing hive mind of the flock to dictate some of their movements. So, if a significant block of the herd starts to wander around in circles due to frustration, it makes it likely that the rest will follow suit. Whether or not this can explain this circling behavior going on for over a week is another question. However, it's safe to say that nothing too X-Files is going on in Inner Mongolia at the moment, and it's more likely to just be some very bored sheep. According to the People's Daily Report, the sheep had been displaying this behavior since November 4th. However, it is still not known whether they stopped to eat or drinking. According to Metro UK, the sheep owner, Mayo, claimed the circle started with a few sheep before the whole flock joined. The sheep in only one of the 34 pens at the spot were moving in a circle. According to some explanations, the reason behind the unusual move could be because of a bacterial disease called listeriosis. One of the symptoms of the disease is known to cause circling in animals. However, the disease usually causes death within 2 days, according to the Newsweek report.
Subscribe to our channel to keep up with new content. Your subscription, support, and feedback are much appreciated.